Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have President Donald Trump, for obvious reasons, because he is the presumptive GOP nominee, again, for obvious reasons, versus let's just assume that Kyrsten Sinema, the Democratic challenger in the Arizona Senate race to replace Senator Jeff Flake, let's assume she becomes a senator. I was suggested this video, so I decided that it would be a little bit more fun. I almost did Marsha Blackburn versus Phil Bredesen, both from the state of Tennessee, both running for Senate there. But I was trying to see how it would pretty much work out on a regular map, but I don't know. It kind of pretty much embodies what we normally see in our electoral map, so I decided this one would be a little bit more interesting, taking a Democrat from the Sun Belt and see where that really helps or hurts them, depending on which state we're talking about. So let's assume Kyrsten Sinema, elected to the United States Senate, a Democrat from Arizona. We'll see how she fares against President Trump. We'll start off with the East Coast like we normally... No, sorry, we don't normally do this. We'll start off with the East Coast, unlike normal. Even with the Democratic supposed wave in 2018, I think that President Trump will likely hold Maine's 2nd district in this scenario, but I think that the rest of Maine would pretty handily go to pretty much any Democrat. Illinois, and then all the Trump states, of course: Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, all of Nebraska except for one district. Let me fill that in. I don't know why I fill in the 3rd district when I mean to fill in the 2nd. I do that almost every one of my videos. But all the safe states for the GOP, sorry, now they're all filled in. So 120 electoral votes for President Trump, 107 for Kyrsten Sinema, filling in the western coast, Hawaii included. Now we have pretty much a somewhat more accurate safe map for the Democrats. So 185 electoral votes for them, 120 for President Trump. Not so sure why I put Utah as the toss-up. I guess 126 for him, but it is a possibility that an independent could run and make it competitive yet again. So we have a Democrat coming from the Sun Belt. Being completely honest, if there's an incumbent Democratic senator and she is the nominee, Arizona already turned away from Donald Trump considerably. I mean, Mitt Romney outperformed John McCain, even though John McCain was from the state, and Donald Trump underperformed by large margins, and the state became a toss-up state for the first time in a while. I mean, the last Democrat to carry it was her husband, Hillary Clinton's husband, Bill Clinton. So 196 electoral votes for Kyrsten Sinema gave her the state of Arizona, assuming she's the incumbent Democratic senator. It's really weird seeing Arizona blue. But yeah, 126 electoral votes for President Trump. But to be honest, New Mexico's probably going to stay blue. Colorado's probably going to stay blue, looking at the way Donald Trump is disapproved in that state. The state of Nevada is coming to more of a toss-up, but coming from the Sun Belt, it would definitely be easier for her to appeal to this type of voter. Over in Nebraska, though, I'm not seeing the Midwestern appeal that much. There's a lot of talk about how Sinema is a progressive, but this woman is a part of the Blue Dog Coalition. I don't think that's the farthest from progressive you can get in the Democratic Party. The state of Texas, you know, that one could become closer in 2020, but President Trump's probably going to carry it, even if Kyrsten Sinema's from the Sun Belt. So used to saying Rust Belt, my bad. But Iowa, again, Midwestern voters, not necessarily going to go to some senator from Arizona. Going over to Ohio, another state, President Trump handily carried him. Not so sure about that going to the Democrats. Georgia, another state. I mean, the outreach is there, coming from a Republican state appeal is there, but it's not enough to flip and get out African-American voters to vote like they did, like the black voters did in the Alabama Senate race, because when it comes down to a presidential race, things tend to tie up at the end of the election season. I don't know if Democrats will really inspire their voters by nominating a senator from Arizona, but pretty much anything's possible. But as of right now, I think President Trump would carry the state of Georgia. State of North Carolina, I also think would go to President Trump. I think it would be pretty easy for him to carry that state. Down in Florida, though, that one definitely has a lot more weight than it did before, and definitely is leaning in the Democratic side favor because of what happened with the school shootings and all the gun control debate, and all the attention is aimed at Florida. I can tell you many things. I mean, the immigration moving in from Puerto Rico, and the immigration of Latino people, not just from Puerto Rico, my bad, not Puerto Ricans, just from Puerto Rico, but also heavy Latino population, and it's increasing, which is why a lot of pundits say Texas and Florida will be safe blue come 2024. And that's partially reasonable. I mean, if you look at the way the immigration patterns are going, they vote Democrats 70 to 30. If they keep that up and they become the majority of the population, obviously the state is going to become Democratic. So 245 electoral votes for Sinema and 220 for Trump. Well, you might ask, where can he make up his margin? We'll actually go to a state that I don't think he'll carry. We'll go to the state of Virginia. I think that state will easily go to the Democratic nominee, considering how much of a Democratic state it proved it was in 16 and again in 17, and will probably do in 2018 with the Senate race and a number of House races and the state legislative races. So 258 electoral votes for the Democrat, 220 for the member of the GOP. We're going to start filling in certain states. So the state of New Hampshire, I think that one would go to the Democrats. I mean, pretty simple enough for them to carry. It's a state that they carried back in 2016. Even though Donald Trump swept the Rust Belt, it'll likely stay in the column for the Democratic Party. States where Donald Trump could actually win, in this type of election, it's very different. States like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, they may or may not be tosses depending on the situation. Minnesota and Michigan, this essentially makes Sinema puts her over the top. I believe that she would carry the states of Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota. The way that they voted in 2016, Michigan being the least Trump state out of them all, approval rating dipping in all of them, or they're in their low 40s, which is not an accomplishment. But yeah, so 288 electoral votes for the Democrat, 220 for President Trump. But I do think that President Trump could carry the state of Wisconsin. But after what we saw in the Pennsylvania 18th district, I don't know why I said 17th, I think that the state of Pennsylvania is showing a trend. We have yet to see that trend in Wisconsin. We're probably not going to see it, considering that the only prominent race is the governor's race. Scott Walker's likely going to win a third term. But 308 electoral votes for Senator Sinema, or Kyrsten Sinema, and 230 for President Trump. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.